Alright, hi everybody, this is A7X Fan Ben, and I'm going to do ability analysis on the Admiral's Action ability, which I abbreviate AA. It's not really called Admiral's Action, it's not a keyword, but that's my shorthand keyword that I like. So then you just say like I'm rolling for AAs at the beginning of my turn or whatever, especially if you have multiple. So this ability shows up on some crew never on ships. It says once at the beginning of each of your turns, roll a d6. On a result of 6, any ship in your fleet may be given 2 actions that turn. So it sounds pretty good, but not likely to happen too often because you only get 1 out of 6 results will make it work. So the pros are extra actions, of course, which are one of the best things to win this game with. So extra actions are really essential, especially in competitive games, and just in general to fleet effectiveness. Extra actions are one of the best ways to optimize your fleet building. The Admiral's action is not limited to the ship carrying the ability, so it's similar to Mycron, but dependent on luck. So you can give it to any ship in your fleet to get the extra action or 2 actions in that turn. So that's really cool because it allows you a lot of extra flexibility, and you're not limited to just one ship. So there's some benefits that I'll get to soon. Plenty of easy combos because there's a lot of ship with reroll built in, including some that I'll see in a second here, or we won't see them here. But for example, the French one, this guy, I think there's some French ships with reroll built in, and then I know for a fact that the Crescent Moon is my favorite Corsair ship to use Din with. That one is a 4-masted Barbary galley, so a pretty big galley, and it has reroll built in. So there's a lot of easy combos to use them with. Nolan is the American 0-point limit ransom reroller crew, so he would pair perfectly with Preble. And Preble also links to all American ships, and then you can link Nolan to Preble. So that whole combo is only 6 points for 2 chances at the 6 roll for the AA, and essentially no card space taken up, essentially. So a lot of good combos. 0-LR rerollers are very often used with AA crew. There are some cons. They're more expensive than our action generators, so extra action is 5. Same action twice is only 3 points, and SAC is really cheap at only 2 or 3. And then Mycron is the same cost, but the nice thing about Lord Mycron is even though you have to give up an action, it's guaranteed once you give up the action, you're getting, you know when it's going to happen, you know when you can use it, which is sometimes every turn if you've got a ship just parked at home. So that ability is still better, and it's a lot more game-breaking. But anyway, so that's one of the biggest cons is 6 points is kind of a bunch to pay for only a 1 in 6 shot at making it work. And then, of course, yeah, so it's not going to happen often, difficult to roll 6s. And then if the game is over quickly or it's just a 40-point game, you're not going to get that many chances to roll anyway, so you're probably not going to get many AAs. The best combos are with reroll. I say borderline mandatory because you're not going to get 6s often, so you really want to be able to reroll the ability. You don't necessarily want to spend 3 points on a reroller, but that's where built-in reroll and the 0 limit ransom crew come in really handy. And like I said, Preble with Nolan is the best AA combo out there, basically. It's perfect. Sigurd Anderson is the Viking AA crew. They actually got one. Actually, all 3 minor factions outside of the mercenaries got one, because Zheng He actually has it as part of his Emperor's Commander keyword. Din of the Corsairs helps them a bunch, because the Corsairs don't have many extra action crew. Same with the Vikings. Sigurd, though, he pairs well with Shayna Dukes, who is captain in reroll, so they're perfect for like a large long ship, because they're 12 points and you want to have a helmsman for at least 3 cargo for 14 points of crew. So he's often put with Shayna. He's often paired with her on a Viking flagship. And then CRGO is Commodore Royce Griffin Owen. So the other version of him from Barbary Coast is actually the 0 limit ransom crew, so it's kind of funny. Of course, no duplicates rule, you can't use him in the same fleet, but you could use that version of him with Lord Cutler Beckett. The English actually got 2 AA crew, and this is actually just as good as Preble, actually, because Beckett links to all English ships, and then you could link the Barbary Coast version of Owen to Beckett, and then essentially have no cargo space taken up. So this could actually work decently on maybe like a large hybrid, for example, if you're not going to take up much cargo with the combo. So anyway, and then it looks like I reversed that. So you could also use Countess Diana Doone with Beckett if you wanted to, or with the other version of Owen. So either way, the English basically have 2 AA crew, and they also have 2 0 limit ransom crew for rerollers. So, and then best to use in big games. So the bigger and longer the game, the better this ability will be. So it's really great in campaign games because there's no real end in sight to those games. and I've used them a bunch in campaign games. They're awesome there because you can just roll every turn. It's kind of just an afterthought. It's like, will I get the AA? Well, it's not an afterthought when you need it, but if you don't need it, it's just a really nice thing to have. And then when you do need it, sometimes you'll have more than one available. I think I had like 4 or something like that in Vassal Campaign Game 3 eventually, and it came in really handy. Because even just 1 per turn, once you get like 2 or 3 and you're re-rolling for maybe all of them, you can almost not quite count on, but you can hope for at least 1 per turn, and that can really change things up. Getting extra action somewhere, anywhere in your fleet, you can apply it to gold running to get home like a big load of gold to launch stuff you need to launch, or an extra action, of course, in the middle of a battle could be huge, especially if you give it an extra action to a 10 master or something. So there's good combos. Best to use in big games. I would not recommend this for games under 80 points, though. Even in a 60-point game, that's 10% of your build total for a 6-point crew. John Last Fight is 5, but that's just the pirates being pretty annoying. They got stuff for cheaper than they should have. And then at 40-point game, 6 points is a lot to spend on something that's probably not going to happen often. So I actually don't recommend this ability in smaller games that most people play, because it's just not going to come into play that often. You're not going to get too many 6s, and a lot of times those games are shorter anyway because there's not as much going on. There's not as many ships and crew, and if it's just a 1v1 game, like 2-player game, you're just going to get like maybe 1 or 2, if any. You might not get any extra Admiral's action ability rolls to work, so not recommended for smaller games. So yay or nay. It's absolutely an effective ability for winning games, but only larger games, so 100 points or more would be best. Campaign games, they are very good in high demand in campaign games. I would say the cost of 6 is accurate, because if it was less than that, it'd be kind of overpowered in larger games, and it can still be okay. In 80 to 100 points is big for most people, but there's no limit to how big the game could be. So 300 points, it doesn't happen much, but it's still a possibility. So I think the cost of 6 is fine. It makes it kind of not too attractive in like 40 or 60-point games or whatever, or 30, 50, whatever you want to play. But as the game size increases, it's one of those abilities that gets better as the game gets bigger. So I think the cost of 6 is fine. I think less would be too cheap, but more would be just kind of pointless, and it would make it even more obsolete compared to the other action generating abilities. So I've got some links below in the description. You can see the ability cost survey, and I think this one is one of the many abilities listed in that survey, so you can give your opinion on whether you think it should cost more or not. Got a link to see the crew at Miniature Trading from the page you just saw. And I also have on Rain Tiger, you can search by abilities, which is really neat. They've got 4 of these crew in stock as of, December 9th, 2018. And so the French one is only 50 cents, and Beckett is only $1. So some pretty good deals there. Pretty solid crew overall. Beckett especially, because he links to all English ships. And then you can also, I found that 3 of these AA crew are from Barbary Coast. So that set had a little bit more concentration of them than the other sets. The other ones are pretty widespread. So I've also got links to Barbary Coast packs and the set in general on eBay. And then, of course, you can check out the keyword playlist in the pirate code, although neither of those really serve a purpose for this ability. So pretty straightforward. No need for a pirate code entry for AA, Admiral's action ability. Solid ability, but if you don't play games 80+ points, not a huge deal, not a big thing to consider or to worry about, really, because your opponent probably won't use them either. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you want to see more of this ability analysis series, and I'll see you soon for more videos.